everybody, welcome to my video today. We are going to dive into another simply layered pages, and this is where I am creating 12 by 12 traditional scrapbooking pages for you guys, but we're doing it in a very simple way. So the product that I'm using today is going to be this designer paper. So this is the whole lot of lovely designer paper, and I have quite a bit of it, you can see, because last year Stampin' Up! Had Project Life cards. Here's a couple of them that matches this designer paper, which is really amazing. So I've purchased quite a bit of this paper because I purchased a bunch of these Project Life cards when they retired. The other thing we're going to be using today is this stamp set, which goes with this suite of product, the designer paper and the stamp set. It all matches. And then what I've done is I've pulled out some dies that I'm going to use. I grabbed my Dragonfly dies, and there's this one, and then there's this one that we're going to use. I also have this. This is just a stitched circle. And then I pulled out this, which is a Believe die. Now, I got this die last year when my one little word for the year was Believe, and I picked it up, but we're going to use that too. So let's go ahead and get started. I have my photo mats all ready put together, and we'll talk about those. And then I have my dies already cut. So this is going to be easy peasy putting this together. So I have a piece of basic black 12 by 12 cardstock. And then what I've done is I've taken this piece of designer paper. It's these stripes on one side and then this floral piece on the other side. And I've trimmed this down. So let's look at the measurements of this. This is going to be 10. And we're going to use this striped piece. And where I want to place this is just right here on the edge. And I'm using my ATG gun for all of the adhesive because it's easier to do and it's a little bit more cost effective. I do use our snail adhesive on any photos that I'm doing, and that's just because I do want to make sure the adhesive that goes on photos are safe, and the ATG tape that I use is an off-brand, so it's not the Scotch brand. So now I have two photo mats right here. So I have Whisper White paper, and then I have this powder pink paper, and then the Tranquil Tide paper, okay? So these photo mats, I always start out my photo mats at 6 by 4 or 3 by 4 or 4 by 4, and then I add a 1/4 inch to those. So for this particular photo mat, what I've done is I have the powder pink, which is what I would layer my photo on. It's 4 1/4. Okay, and then the Whisper White piece is 4 1/2 that way, and then same on the other side. Okay, so we have these two. And they're going to go down just like this. And then I have a couple dies here, okay? So let's just play around a little bit with the placement. You can go, depending on the way you take your photos, you can go this way, you can go the other direction. So for this particular spread, let's do our photo mats. Then we're going to place our Dragonfly die up here. I'll move this a little bit so you guys can see it. And then down here, we're going to place our other Dragonfly die right here. And then our Believe die is going to go right here. So let's start putting this down. Dragonfly dies, paper I cut these out of, and let's just add a little bit of color to these. So we will take some, let's take our Tranquil Tide, which is that dark color. We will grab a sponge dauber. And lightly, we're just getting a little bit of ink on this. And we'll go all around the edges. I'm gonna take a couple rhinestones and just place them right on these dragonflies. I just want these die cuts to pop a little bit and add a little bit of interest and texture to the layout. Okay, so we have that, and we'll set that aside. And then let's bring this dragonfly over, and we can add a couple to this little guy. So now up in this corner, we're gonna layer our dragonfly right here. And you can add some dimensionals if you want. We have little mini dimensionals that will work perfectly. For our believe, we're going to use a little bit of liquid glue. Remember, this will be beneath a page protector, so the chances of it getting snagged or coming off if you have a little bit of dimension in there is probably will be okay. So we have our believe there, and then we have our other set of dragonflies that are going to go down here. And I think I'll just use liquid glue on these. These are pretty tiny. Remember, you don't have to have glue on every single piece of your die cut. Just in some places that will hold it down will be perfect. And then the little wings will come up a little bit off your page and add a little bit of more dimension. So here's this side. So now let's get right into the next side. So I have my photo mats done, and then I have a piece of cardstock that coordinates. I have a piece of soft sky cardstock, and these are going to be lined up right next to each other. I know it's a little bit hard to see on my camera, guys, getting this. This piece, this is just an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. Okay, so a really simple layer. You don't have to do anything to it. We're going to add some adhesive to that. We're not going to stick it down quite yet. I'm going to set it aside because I want to show you this piece. So this piece is a piece of that designer paper that we used on this side, okay? It has some basic black baker's twine just wrapped around the entire piece, okay? So you can see it's not even secured down. It's literally just tied in a bow, so it's very loose. So what we can do is add some adhesive, and I like to add adhesive right over the baker's twine whenever I have baker's twine like that. And then we'll add a couple strips, and you can see why the ATG gun is really a lot easier to use. So now what we're gonna do is we wanna layer these down together. So the first one, we're gonna layer right here, and I'm just using my grid mat to make sure that everything is lined up. I have a little tiny bit of a border right here. And then this piece is going to tuck right underneath, and it's gonna peek out. So again, I'm just using that grid mat. You can see I can still move this. As long as I'm not pressing anything down, I really should be okay. So once I get that in the right placement, I can go ahead and push that down. Now, once you push it down and you're using ATG adhesive, it's over, it's down, it's not coming back up, okay? So now I have 4 of these mats. So these are just 3 by 4, so you can see this is actually one of those Project Life cards that I told you about, that I had a ton of, okay? I had some that went this way, and then I had some that went this way. So I really encourage you guys to get your Project Life cards out and use them to create layouts like this. Let's start using our product in ways that it's not necessarily intended. So I grabbed that Project Life card. So my first layer is going to be a 3 by 4, and then the colored layer will be a 1/4 inch more, and then the Whisper White layer will be a 1/4 inch more, okay? So I have this down. I have 2 pink ones. Well, I have 3 pink ones and then a green one here, okay? So this one I want to go ahead and just start by layering, and then I want that green piece. Now that Tranquil Tide piece is gonna pull in the Tranquil Tide from this piece right here. And then I have 2 pink pieces down here. Okay, so now when I have photos, when I'm ready to drop photos onto this layout, I'll know these slots are 3 by 4 photos, and these are 4 by 6 photos. So it makes it very easy to then do your page when you don't have your photos, but then once you get your photos, it's not difficult to add them. So let's go ahead and attach these down. layers down. So now I've taken that stitched circle die, I've stamped the flower on there, and of course I'm just gonna add a couple dimensionals and we're gonna pop this up. We'll put this right in the middle and then my photos will slide right under that. I won't have to worry. So this is the way the page comes out. We have this side. You could add a few more dragonflies. You could add some dragonflies over here. I didn't. I thought it looked fine. I wanted to keep it simple. So here is the layout for my simply layered pages. I hope you guys are enjoying the series that I'm doing. And I loved the way this turned out. And I'll pop this in one of the girls' albums with some photos. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and I'll be back next week to share more with you guys.